Hey folks, welcome back to Real Estate Investing Unmasked. Today we're going to talk about how to find a mortgage lender. So I received this question, how do I find a great mortgage broker or a mortgage lender for that matter? And so I was curious of what other people came up with on the internet, so I took a search and took a little minute and looked to see what was out on the web to see what other people had suggested for finding a great mortgage lender or mortgage broker. And unfortunately, I was kind of surprised. Most every website I went to, instead of actually answering the question and telling you how to find a mortgage broker or a mortgage lender, really just told you what you needed to do to prepare before you talk to them. And that's not really the question at hand. It's important that you have your credit in good standing, that you have a down payment ready to go, and that you know what your credit score is. Those are all important things to know ahead of time. But we're talking about how do you actually find the mortgage lender or mortgage broker. Now, a lot of people, their first thing they suggested was talk to family and friends. I've had so many experiences, not just my own, but also family and friends who had bad experiences because they took suggestion from family and friends. So I don't highly recommend that you go immediate to family and friends. That is a backup plan. That definitely is a plan that you can go to. However, the first thing that came to my mind of who I would go to for a mortgage lender or mortgage broker, if I didn't have one already, is go to the title company. Go to the title company. Who closes all the loans? Who closes all the real estate transactions? It's the title company. They're the ones that record that you are now the owner and not somebody else. So a title company is going to know who's holding up the transaction and who's getting it done. And when you want a mortgage lender and a mortgage broker, you want somebody who's going to get the job done. They will have an idea of who's a good mortgage broker and who's a good mortgage lender as far as getting the transaction done. Now that's one half of the equation. Another part of the equation is do they have your best interest at heart? Now for that, you probably need to go to your local real estate office. Now, if you're looking for a mortgage lender, mortgage broker, you're probably gonna have a ton of people that want to get your information. What you need to do, and this is what I've done in the past, is you go inside and say, hey, I'm interested in looking at property, but before I talk to anyone, can I use the restroom? And usually they will. And as I've done this in the past, what I have found is there's usually like a conference room or somewhere inside that office where they have a big whiteboard that shows everybody's stats on there. Usually has the number one real estate agent that's selling everything, and then all number two, number three, number four, and so on. And what houses they're working on selling, what's in the pipeline, so to speak. And when you see that, if you can get that information, get the number 1, 2, or 3 real estate agent for that office. Whoever sells the most, second most, and third most. I would talk to number 2, and I would talk to number 3 before I would talk to number 1. It's all psychology, in my opinion. When you talk to number 2, they are trying to beat number 1, so they're going to work really hard for you. Number 3 could also be competing at a high level against number 2, or they could be taking whatever they get and trying, they're trying to get up there. Everybody wants to sell a house, and they're going to get a lot of money from you when you buy a house, not from you, but from the seller, which ends up being from you because you're going to pay for it all with your mortgage lender. But once you know those real estate agents, if they have experience in selling homes, which that's how they got to be number 2 and 3 and number 1, ask them who they've had the easiest time doing a transaction with amongst all the mortgage brokers they work with. If you will do that, if you will focus on which lender they have used or which lender their clients have used in the past that has been best as far as getting the loans that the people need and getting it done soon, getting it done fast so that you can close the transaction, they're going to get you some really good people. So my 2 recommendations: go to the title company and go to a real estate office that you trust, and ask the people who are actually helping the transactions go through, who are some mortgage brokers or some mortgage lenders that you suggest. Don't stop at 1, get at least 2. And if the number 2 person doesn't have 2 people, that means they're probably feeding all of their business to that mortgage lender, and you may or may not be able to trust them. So go to the number 3 person and ask them theirs, or the number 1 person if you want, and ask them theirs. I always like giving competition, so I like going to number 2 and number 3. But talk to those people and say, I need some recommendations on mortgage lenders or mortgage brokers, and they should be able to point you in the right direction. The other thing you can do is, as I pointed out in this video up here, I'll try to put a link up here, I talked about how you can compare rates, mortgage rates, without talking to a lender. So if you go onto the website I talk about there and you find what looks to be a great mortgage, then you can also contact the people that are offering that mortgage. However, if you know through the title company or through the real estate agent or realtor who they suggest, you can take the information from comparing the rates that you see up there in the video and use that to your advantage when you're talking to the person that they recommend you go to. If you don't want to go through all that, which I would say is the easiest way, it's pretty easy, then you can contact family or friend or whatever, that's fine. But honestly, you've got Chicago Title Company, you've got American Standard Title Company. Let's see, what is this? I've used M&M Title before in the past. I think that's probably more of a regional. But all you got to do is look up Title Company, call them up, and honestly, those guys are friendly. They just want to close the loans too. They want to get all the transactions done because honestly, every time somebody closes a transaction, it's more money in the title company's pocket because they're offering title insurance most often. So if you have any questions about loans, mortgages, buying a property, feel free to ask me down below. I have been investing in real estate since 2003. My dad had done real estate transactions. My uncle had done real estate transactions. My grandparents had real estate way back. Matter of fact, my family that made it through the Great Depression, they had property. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me down below and I'll try to get back to you. If it's something that you want a little bit more privacy, go to my website at watchbobonyoutube.com. www.watchbobonyoutube.com, and you can email me there. So thanks for watching. I'm sure you've already subscribed, so give me the like and I'll see you next time.